Another successful adventure! And now to celebrate with a round of drinks or two at our favorite tavern. The ale is flowing, and with all the loot we found, I plan on drinking my fill. As do I. Another! Why, I haven't even been keeping track of how much I've had. Why would we? We're fictional characters that only exist in the imaginations of the players. I mean, it's not like there's any sort of measurable indication of how inebriated we become based on rolls of the dice. Like a series of stacking effects that start with small, enjoyable benefits, but then becomes a slippery slope towards serious detriments. Almost like really getting drunk. That would be wild! But nothing like that exists. Right? Right? Dungeon Master? Hey there friends, welcome back to my tips and tricks for Dungeon Masters. Today I have a hopefully short video about a device that I've used in my recent campaign with my players, and we've had a lot of fun with it. I first introduced it back in our 2020 Christmas session, which is wild to think about. Time flies. The characters were doing a 12 Bars of Christmas tavern crawl where each location had a mini game associated with it. There were also cultists and a nefarious plot and a secret Santa. It was a great time. But to add to the competitive aspect and to make some of the mini games more challenging, I came up with the drunk scale. Before I get into how it works, I want to throw in a little disclaimer. You, as an actual real-life person at your D&D table, should always drink responsibly. Additionally, there are perfectly legitimate reasons why another person at the table might be uncomfortable with even simply role-playing drinking in excess. Keep the comfort and boundaries of everyone you play with in mind when you employ this tool. I spent many wonderful years working as a bartender in some fantastic restaurants, and the craft and culture behind this topic is something that I'm passionate about. I'm a fan of the advice that you should world build within your niches and the things that interest you. While I have spent very little amount of time fleshing out the early history of Center Ring or how the economy works and other things like that, I know the preferred spirits of every species in my world. The taste profiles, how they're made, how they're enjoyed. It's something that is easy for me to create and fill with my own studies, experiences, and cumulative knowledge. One day, you can fully expect a Center Ring cocktail book. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the drunk scale. Here's how it works. After finishing a drink, a character must make a Constitution saving throw. Ooh. The DC starts at 10 plus the number of drinks the character has had. If the DM determines that a drink is particularly strong or that the character is drinking too quickly, it is up to their discretion to raise the DC or offer the save with disadvantage as they see fit. Oh, that's worse. If the character fails the saving throw, they gain 1 drunk point. Each drunk point has an effect associated with it, and the effects stack on top of each other, much like points of exhaustion. Here's how they go. With 1 drunk point, you gain advantage on all charisma checks, signifying a calm and confident buzz in the early stages of drinking. This is enhanced with your 2nd drunk point, which adds that advantage to charisma saving throws as well. A 3rd drunk point gives you disadvantage on dexterity checks and saving throws, but the other advantages remain. Until you gain a 4th drunk point, then they go away, and we add disadvantage to all intelligence-related checks. At 5 drunk points, that disadvantage extends to all ability checks that a character isn't proficient in, and then at 6 drunk points, it becomes all ability checks. But a character might choose to keep drinking anyway, as it is a slippery slope, and a 7th drunk point gives you drunken confidence, resulting in 2 inspiration die. If you continue to fail your checks, an 8th drunk point halves your speed, and a 9th forces disadvantage on all attack rolls and saving throws. At 10 drunk points, your hit point maximum is halved until you take a long rest. 11 brings your speed to 0, and if you somehow manage to continue drinking, a 12th drunk point renders you unconscious. Now, obviously, this is not a perfect tool. I think I made it a 12-point system because of the 12 bars my players were going to visit in the session that I designed this for, and there was a game and a drink at each. With the constitution modifiers of your average D&D character and the amount of time it would take to roleplay 12 rounds, the mathematical probability of a character getting 12 points is incredibly low. The purpose of this tool isn't for characters to accumulate these points like the greedy goblins that they are, and it's certainly not to punish the characters for having a drink, or 10. It's just an added system to encourage role-playing the stages of inebriation, to add dice rolls into what might be an RP-heavy scene, and honestly, just for fun. As I mentioned earlier, a DM may see the need to change some of these rules if the situation calls for it. Instead of a particularly strong drink calling for disadvantage on the con save, maybe a game master rules that a failure results in 2 drunk points at once, or 3. A DM may very likely need to rule whether or not these points can be individually removed by eating a good meal, drinking a flagon of water, or by a lesser restoration spell. In fact, the use of a greater restoration or hero's feast might remove all of these points entirely. It's not a flawless addition to the game, but is there ever? And here's the good news. If you like it, it's free. Take it from this video, or if you want, you can go to my website and download the PDF of it, including a rules page for the DM and a cutout table that you can give to your players for them to keep track with. There's a link in the video description. Have fun with the drunk scale, and please drink responsibly. From one DM to another, have an intoxicating session.